Hi, everybody. It's Dee Slater with Create with Dee. Welcome to our Live at 5. I hope everyone's having a great Wednesday. We had storms again that went through. I put on my Facebook page that, hey, I wasn't sure if I was going to come through because it looked like storms were here all afternoon, but we had huge ones that came in. And as of right now, the sun is shining. So I'm like, hooray, I can make it. Well, as you're coming on and get notifications and things, I just want to remind you that last weekend, or most of the weekend, it was last Thursday through Saturday, I had 8 Christmas videos that were put on for the Christmas in July. So if you're starting to think ahead about maybe some projects and cards and some boxes that you might want to start in on, I've got lots of ideas over there on my YouTube channel that you can check in on. Okay, well, tonight we are going to do a technique class, which is making our own watercolor background. And also, again, on my Facebook page at Create with Dee, I kind of put a note out there to people yesterday to say, hey, give me some ideas of some colors that, we're going to see, because I'm also going to give tips on the monochromatic look on that. Well, as always, before we get started, I would love to invite you to either subscribe to my YouTube channel or follow me on Facebook. And if there's anything in this video that you like, please give me a thumbs up. And I would, welcome and always encourage you to leave a comment if you have any questions or any, comments along the way. All right, we'll turn the camera around and we'll get started. We are going to make our own beautiful backgrounds using some watercolor paper and either reinkers or our ink pad. Hi, Jean. How's it going? Jean Ann. I know. Jean. I never say it right, do I? Thank you so much for tuning in all the time. And we're kind of going monochromatic. My intent for the class today was to kind of show that we don't always need the kitchen sink in order to make pretty cards. So if maybe you're just getting started or you just want to do what's known as a clean and simple card, but with maybe a little technique, this might be for you. And so, here's some sample cards that I made using this technique. And I'm featuring 2 stamp sets here today. One, the kindest expression. I love all of these big sentiments, and it's about everything that we would want to see on it. And then also just an accent stamp set, and I'm using Dainty Delights to incorporate these floral images into it. Okay, so on Facebook, I had said what colors what you would like to see. So the first one that popped up was Nida Navy. So that's where I went to work on making the primary sample. And then I hadn't looked at the notes there on the comments. And so I just kind of went with a variety of colors. But other votes that came in were Cherry Cobbler, Blueberry Brochel, Lemon Lolly, Azure Afternoon, and Boho Blue. So I guess my gals over there on Facebook are like really into their blues. So out of the 6 colors, here's what they picked. So I'm going to show a little bit of Night of Navy, and then we'll work in some of these other colors on it, just so that we could all kind of enjoy it here together. Okay, let's see. I think that's everything that I wanted to say for right at the moment. All right, so the 2 items besides the stamp set that you need in order to have this look is watercolor paper. You could also use thick basic white or thick very vanilla, but watercolor paper is just, as the name describes, it's kind of meant to play with water, and that's what we're using for our backgrounds. And also we're using the water painters. You might have an old set called Aqua Painters. Those would work too. There's 3 in a set, different brush tips on it. And then the third thing that I just like to have is a spritzer. Waters, and you can fill these spritzers with water, do some alcohol, and the the ink refills in it to spritz some colors, but we're just going to use it as a water unit right now. Okay, so let me go ahead and we'll clear some of this out. And I wanted to kind of share with you my tip on maybe maximizing this watercolor paper. It's the Fluid 100, and the sheets in the pack are a 5x7. What I like to do, and you can, cut it down to whatever size that you want. You can do, make other little label embellishments out of it, whatever. But for this class tonight, what I did is I took along the 5-inch side, I cut it down to 4 3/4. And if you do 4 3/4 and then cut it at 3 1/2, you can get 2 of these layering pieces out of one sheet. Hi, Sue. So that is, that's how I did that. Just simply took a little 4 or 1/4 of an inch off of the 5-inch side so that so it's a 4 3/4, and then you cut that in half, and you can get 2 3 1/2 by 4 3/4 sheets. Okay, so that's that little tidbit there. And I'm going to grab some paper towels because we're going to be working with water and do this. All right, so a couple of things that you can do, and I'm just going to kind of show you. Let me get the Night of Navy in here because we'll do that first, since that was the first one that we had. This looks like some crazy ink spot, like what design do you see out of that? But what I did is I took my Night of Navy re-inker, and when I squeezed too hard, and I got so much of that. You just really literally need 1 drop. So even though that's full of Night of Navy, I'm going to just kind of show you that you just need a little bit. And you could use, you just need any vessel. Sometimes people use the lids of their ink pads. I'm just using the acrylic blocks that I have lots of them. You can use a paper plate. It doesn't have to be anything fancy that your ink is on, as long as it will hold the ink. So I'm going to just put 1 little drop here. Again, you don't need much, and you can always add more to it. Okay, let me get it so we can see it. And let's see here. I'm going to do one of these at a time. And what I like to do, excuse my arms going back and forth, is I like to take my spritzer, and I'm going to put, and what it does, it just kind of gives a nice fine mist onto the paper. You can kind of see where it's wet. Again, we want to, we need water to watercolor. And I found that I liked this big brush tip here. On these water painters, it has push that'll feed the water through. So what I kind of like to do too is I kind of get it started here. And there you can see how it's coming on. Okay. So you can kind of brush some of it off. And I'm going to start here and do like an ombre effect. So I'm just going to kind of brush it down. And you'll want to, you can play with the color. Like here doesn't have as much water on the top, so maybe I want this a little darker. And just keep kind of pulling it down. I'm just going in a left-right fashion, but you could do whatever you want. And, however far up that you want to go. But that's it. That's the design. And I'm going to put that aside to dry. And that's one of the colors. And let's just keep playing with that. With your brush, you can just wipe it clear. I'm going to squeeze it where it says push. And because you don't want to introduce colors with each other. And so just keep brushing until it's a clear on your paper towel. And let's bring in another color here. Let's see. So that was one blue. Let's see. Lemon Lolly was another one. I have some re-inker coming in. I don't have this. Now I have in the past, you can pick up the ink right from the corner, But what I like to do is, depending on how juicy your ink pad is, you can actually just push your one of your clear blocks down onto the ink pad. And I'm just going to have it so that I have just, oh, that was a lot. That was a lot of ink. So mine is very juicy. I have way too much. Don't do that much, but I have plenty here to work with. So lemon lolly was one. And, you know, again, we want water. So I'm going to squish a little water on here. And what that's doing is diluting it. Get my aqua painter. I'm going to close up my ink pad just in case my spritzer goes crazy. I don't want to get water on my ink pad. And let's give it a little spritz. Again, that kind of readies the paper to accept some water. And just remember, we can always come back through and add more. Now, lemon lolly is a super light ink color anyways, and so maybe it was a good thing that I had a lot. I'm going to really start with, and I'm just kind of going back and forth until it graduate. You know, it's a graduate. That's just the look that I'm going for. If you wanted to do it the same strength all the way through, you could. Hi, Donna. So this time, I guess I'm making it a little more uniform. Now, this yellow might be kind of hard to see, but then I've made that background. Believe me, this can get pretty addictive. You're like, well, that's a fun color. Let me try another one. Okay, so I'm going to put these off to the side. And that's it. That's how you do your background. And ahead of time, and they do need to dry. You can take your heat tool and try to fast set it if you would like. But that's totally up to you on it. What I like to do is just let them air dry. And so I did these last night. This is Night of Navy. Let me bring in my colors that I did. Night of Navy. And then I also did, that's Poppy Parade. This is Parakeet Party. And then I did Daffodil Delight. So that was my color palette that I was playing with on it. And again, I wanted to do tone on tone. And so I've got a couple of variations on that. Let me bring in my sample again. So on here, what really works well is to find the lightest area that you've done for your sentiment. The Night of Navy is pretty strong here. I had a pretty heavy hand with the ink. On this one then, I had a really light touch with it. And even though this looks purple here, that was the Night of Navy. That's just, the water just kind of helps bring the pigment out to the surface. All right, so this is what I was meaning by monochromatic. We had our watercolor wash background and Night of Navy, and now I'm just going to go tone on tone. So this is again from Kindest Expressions. This one says With Sympathy on it. And I don't really need this paper or the, what do I say, the paper towel behind it there. So just wherever you would like to have With Sympathy, I'm going to kind of go where it's the lightest, just because I want that dark to really show up on it. In fact, that paper towel did not do me any good with stamping. Let me just get that out of the road. If you look real close, the watercolor paper does have some texture to it. That's what helps the cotton rich, that it absorbs the water with it. So just kind of note that. Okay, and now I'm getting one of the images from Dainty Delight. And again, I'm just doing kind of tone on tone. And I have this other little grassy image here. Just put that down. And then I layered it with a piece of Night of Navy cardstock. This is cut at 3 3/4 by 5 and layered onto basic white cardstock. The the watercolor paper is a kind of a cream color. It's right in between white and very vanilla. So it does look a little cream against the white, and it looks a little white against the very vanilla. So just so that you know that, there won't be a perfect match, but it's okay. It still makes for a beautiful project. And then I have this little like Night of Navy ribbon right in there. Okay, so that was that one. And let's do one more tone on tone. So this is Poppy Parade. And I have on here, Oh Happy Day. Every time I see that sentiment, I think of my sister's wedding. When she and Ron got married, it was both of their second marriages. And after the wedding party, you know, left the church and everything, then they played this song and the wedding party came back down the aisle and the whole congregation or the whole audience, you know, sang Oh Happy Day. It was just really kind of really a special moment. So I'm thinking of you, sis. Oh Happy Day. And let's see. I went a little crazy with this images the last time. I've got a bow on that. I think I'm just going to do, I kind of like just the one on here. I don't know why I'm having it up and then over, but I just kind of like that look. That way, if you put a bow or something here, you know, you can do that. So that's how that would look with tone on tone. And again, here was my other sample. Again, each one of them, you know, each time you do it, it's a unique watercolor wash. Oh, gee, Anna, it was so fun. It was so fun. All right, so there's that one. And now I've got some variations that I wanted to kind of share with. So well, actually, let's do the yellow. So this is Daffodil Delight. And the yellow, in my opinion, the yellow sentiment can really, you know, it doesn't stand out the way that I would want it to. And so even though I'm calling it monochromatic, meaning maybe the same color, maybe we say that it's in the same tonal family. So on this one, this was with the Daffodil Delight, but now let's try a darker color. Why don't we try now with crushed curry on top of it? It's still going to be a yellow tone, but it's going to be darker. And that one, I had the rainbow one. And I wish, let me bring this back. Sending sunshine and rainbows. I did the yellow for the sunshine, but I thought, oh my gosh, you could so change out the colors and do a rainbow wash. And how neat would that sentiment be? I wish I would have done that. But coming from work into here, I just didn't have quite enough time to, you know, get it all prepared. But I thought, oh my gosh, that would be a really, really cute way of doing the wash. So this is sending our sunshine. So again, we had all of those blue choices. We could have, like, you know, you've got your blue tones that you can do. Oops. Oh, I forgot my my Cajun craze needed, or crushed curry needed re-inked. Oh, phooey. Let me find something else. This won't be as exciting, but oh, let's do this one. It's probably not the sentiment that I would choose. But you know, I'm just going to kind of show you this was going to be one of my other tips. You can go light wash and then a dark ink. So let's just put this on. This is our Azure Afternoon. Love this blue. And then you can see how that really pops. So again, maybe not the sentiment for this, the color combos, but look how you can really pop that accenting color, or that watercolor wash background is just so pretty. So the lighter shades are really great for that as you have a darker sentiment that you're going to do. All right, so let's do one more. This was our thanks here. And you can stay in the color family that Stampin' Up! Has, or you can go tone on tone. So like, for example, this is the Parakeet Party is in color. So if I wanted to, I could say, well, let's go with another in color. Here's another blue. So here's Tahitian Tide. And we've got our thanks. Yeah, so I'm kind of obsessed with this kindest expression. I just think it's really, let's just kind of put this right in the middle. And we'll put that. So look how pretty that is. Thanks so much. And let's get this little flower that's part of the Dainty Delights. Just sweet and cute and quick. And yet we were able to create something with that background watercolor background that we did. So whether you have a re-inker, the ink pads, you know, there's so many ways of getting and picking up the color. What I probably, again, would not recommend is taking the water painters to your ink pad, just because you don't want to maybe ruin and get a bad spot on them. All right, I'm going to, that's our class here for today, a little technique class. Bring the camera back around. Yes, Sue, I love it too. I love that blue on it. Okay, so let's bring in the original samples here. So these were my tone on tones. And where did my little yellow one go? Hidden. You know, so again, just getting, what do I want to say? Like, you know, if you want to introduce something else with the watercoloring to your ink colors, there's no die cutting or anything like that. It's just, you know, trimming down a few pieces of paper, and you can make some really fun greeting cards with one of your stamp sets. Here's like some alternatives with mixing up some of the colors and with doing a lighter touch on the wash on that. And then if you are on my Facebook, what I plan to do is to everybody that had one of the colors that they did, that they selected here, those ones that I listed, I'm going to make a card. Might be some different things, but it'll be with the ones that everybody had selected on it. Let's see, I think that's everything. So that's how we can utilize our watercolor paper, our water painters, our spritzers to get some really interesting backgrounds and make your own backgrounds. Before I sign off here tonight, I do want to invite you, if you haven't been on my newsletter, you can find the link to subscribe here on, whether you're on Facebook video or YouTube. I'm going to start a creative club, a monthly card club that's in the mail. So you get a fun card club or a card kit in the mail with some goodies each month. My web designer is just finishing up. There was a few bugs that we found, so I'm not quite ready. You can still sign up for it and everything. I think she's got it all worked out, and I will be announcing the first class. You're going to see what we'll be making here, and I'll do that through my newsletter. So if you're interested in that, you know, please subscribe to my newsletter so that you can get some information on it. Okay, I think that's everything, like I said, for tonight. I really appreciate everybody tuning in and watching, and I hope you have a great Wednesday and the rest of your week. Talk to you soon. Happy crafting. Bye-bye.